An important message from the Health and Safety Executive. DHF were recently contacted by HSE asking us to help distribute a warning from them about the need for accurate operation and maintenance instructions on site. Their request came to us as a direct result of an inquest into the death of somebody working on a rolling shutter in Woking. The coroner had requested that HSE remind industry about the legal need for operation and maintenance instructions. On the site in question, there were no operation and maintenance instructions available. Back in 2019, DHF issued members with a safety warning notice, Safety Warning Notice 7, about the need for accurate technical files and risk assessment documentation following two high-profile prosecutions. The prosecutions had happened after a sliding gate had come out of its runners whilst it was being used manually, killing the owner. The required travel stop was not in place. It's relatively well known that the installer concerned received a custodial sentence, but perhaps less well known that the gate company concerned, who were his employer, were separately prosecuted for a breach of Section 7 of the Supply of Machinery Safety Regulations, which go to implement the Machinery Directive in the UK. Section 7 sets out the requirements for compliance assessment and the documentation necessary. These two fatality incidents illustrate perfectly not only the need for safety and compliance, but also the need for accurate documentation. Supplier machinery safety regulations identify the responsible person. That will be the company responsible for compliance. And they identify that as the company that has created the machine. So not necessarily the company that's created the gate, not necessarily the company that's created the drive units, but the company that brings them together. So the company that brings the drive and the gate together for the first time, either in their own factory or workshop or indeed on site, is the responsible company. And the supplier machinery regulations covers two scenarios, and that's for a product when first placed on the market, so that would be factory manufacturers, or when put into service for the first time, and that would be installation companies who become the legal manufacturer because they are creating the machine. Compliance with the regulations means complying with the essential health and safety requirements that are set out in Annex 1 of the regulations, assembling and retaining a technical file, issuing a declaration of conformity, issuing operation and maintenance instructions, and finally CE marking the finished system. The HSE letter reminds responsible companies to make sure that their O&M manual is clear and concise, and that they must also stress the importance of the manual to their client. HSE go on to point out that maintenance work should not commence before access to the advice contained in the O&M manual has been gained. So what they're saying here is we shouldn't be going on to do any work unless we've got the necessary information. They make a few more points in their letter. It makes interesting reading to some degree. Nonetheless, we recognise that there may be circumstances where O&M manuals may not be available, which is quite a few sites in the UK, I would guess. And in such instances, appropriate information should be obtained from the manufacturer or supplier of the system before any work continues. HSE say, though the DHF TS 11 and 12 codes of practice for the design, manufacture, installation and maintenance provide helpful guidance, the DHF codes should be used as supplementary to the manufacturer's information, as they cannot provide the detail for fixings and mountings and the specific door or gate or barrier being worked on. Both HSE and health and safety legislation set a clear expectation that no one should install, inspect, service, maintain or repair or undertake other work on a door, gate or barrier unless they know how it is mounted, how to access the covers, the guide rails or the supports, and how to safely remove them, and how it can be worked on safely, and that only those who have the necessary skills, knowledge, training and experience, in other words competence, should be undertaking this work. It is important that these simple requirements are followed so that further serious incidents can be prevented. So there's an extract from the HSE letter. The Operation and Maintenance Manual is a legally required and critically important document. It must be detailed and clearly explain what steps are needed to keep a system operating safely. It must explain in detail how to maintain the system and what skills, qualifications and experience is necessary to do that work. A copy of the HSE letter can be downloaded from the DHF website under the news section. So there's a shot there of the DHF homepage. If you click on news, go down to an important message from HSE, click on the icon, you can download the letter and read it for yourselves. Well, thank you for your attention and please follow the advice.